Joining us now, AJ Delgado. It's always good to have AJ on. AJ is a senior advisor and spokeswoman for America First Action. AJ was also part of the Trump campaign in 2016, and she is live in Miami. And AJ, it's good to have you with us.
With you, John.
AJ, let's go right to the special election, District 18, Pennsylvania, a district. Everybody knows this. Trump won by 20, Romney won by 17. The Democrats didn't even field candidates the last two cycles. Now it appears Connor Lamb, the Democrat, upsetting Rick Sarcone out there. Kind of doesn't matter logistically because the district is going away anyway. But AJ, the RNC poured $10 million into it for PR reasons. The Democrats are going to pick up the seat. There's no question they have tremendous enthusiasm on their side and wind at their backs. What does this mean going into the midterms, AJ?
Very little. And, you know, the media and the Democrats today, if it does turn out that Mr. Lamb won, and congratulations to him if he did, they're going to try to make this out to be, look, these seats are flippable. Trump is toxic. We can already tell what they're going to be saying on MSNBC, CNN. The truth is, this is a really very much an anomaly election because Connor Lamb is such a unique candidate. The guy's almost a Republican, John. I kind of want to have a come-to-Jesus talk with him because he's somebody who's pro-steel tariffs, pro-life personally, pro-guns, so a former Marine. So, of course, if there is an upset and he wins, what does that say? That says, if anything, that the country is moving more in a Trumpian direction. Even Democrats are. It's a referendum against Nancy Pelosi and against the Democrat Party today that has gone so far left. It's not a referendum against Trump. I think Mr. Lamb is more like Trump than he is like the rest of the Democrats.
Okay, AJ, that is one way of looking at this. I mean, this is a district that Republicans have been winning by 17 and 20 points, and now they lose it. And it's not like Sarcone was a disaster, okay? He was not the most motivating candidate that God ever created, but he didn't make any mistakes. There was no scandals. And the Washington Republicans pumped $10 million in to save his campaign. I mean, I don't think how you can look at this race and say it has no bearing on things going forward when you look at the fact that Democrats have now picked up 39 seats in the General Assembly. Their results in Virginia, I mean, it was stunning. The Democrat turnout was beyond what anybody thought it would be. I think it would be tough to not recognize that Democrats have a lot of energy going on. And
no doubt. And they do, and I'm not disputing that, and I'm not disputing that there might be other races that we might say, whoa, this is concerning, that could certainly happen. I just think this one in particular, and I said it from the beginning, that I felt Connor Lamb had a very good shot because he is such a strange breed of Democrat. He's almost like a Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, 20, 30 years ago Democrat that no longer really exists. I mean, there was a debate, John, where they were literally, Sarcone and Lamb were literally arguing about who was the one that was even more in favor of Trump's steel tariffs. Was it Sarcone or was it Lamb? They were literally arguing over who was more pro-Trump on that issue.
Right.
So it was it's a very unique candidate and a very unique election. So no disagreement that there might be other elections where it might be indicative of issues and problems that the GOP might have going forward in these midterm elections. But this one in particular, because the candidate was such a moderate, I don't think it really speaks to anything overall.
I'll buy that. And certainly he is an anomaly for a Democrat. You know, somebody was on earlier saying that he's going to get challenged in whatever district he ends up in because, you know, all those have changed because of the Supreme Court ruling. But somebody was saying he's not going to even be nominated again, that somebody's going to run against him in a Democratic primary and trounce him because of his stands, which are basically, I mean, he was even in favor of the Trump tax cut and said he wouldn't repeal that back. So, and he also said that he would not vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker. Now, the problem is, you know, he gets there and all that changes because, you know, they have to back their party. And so it's going to be a little more difficult for him.
Right, but he seems to criticize Nancy Pelosi more than he criticized Trump. And you won't hear the media point that out. So is that part of why he won? Is it not really this election, the results, if he wins, were they not really more of a referendum on Nancy Pelosi than they were on Trump, as the media is going to try to make it out to be? I see it more as a referendum, as a rejection of how far left the Democratic Party has gone. And the Democrats in smaller areas, working class areas, rural areas are saying, that's not our party. We don't want to go there. We'd rather go with a moderate Democrat. That's what this election was about. It wasn't about Trump.
Well, even Connor Lamb said that. I saw him on CNN 15 minutes ago. They asked him, was this a referendum on President Trump? And he said, absolutely not. He said this had nothing to do with Trump at all and had everything to do with me. So he kind of dismissed that. So we're on the same page on that one. Coming up on 20 minutes past the hour, you're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. We're with AJ Delgado, and AJ is a senior advisor and spokeswoman for America First Action. AJ was also part of the Trump campaign in 2016. AJ, let's get to the House and the 2018 midterms. If you look at history, if you look at math, all the Republicans that have retired, the enthusiasm right now, 7.5 months out, the Democrats have, it certainly appears that they've got enough momentum to take the House back. If you were in Washington today and the House Caucus Campaign Committee called you up and said, AJ, what the hell can we do in order to stave off calamity and keep our majority, albeit even if it's by one, what would be your advice to them?
I think we'd want to encourage as many far-left candidates and non-Connor Lambs as you can. The Connor Lambs, the Joe Bidens, are the people that worry me. I would love to see the left, I would love to see the Democrats run these far-left candidates as they've been leaning towards doing in recent years. If they stop doing that, that's where we have trouble. That said, I don't think we're in any danger. I don't think we're in danger of losing the House. They would have to flip about 23 or 24 seats in order to regain the House. That's a pretty lofty ambition. A lot would have to go their way, and a lot of seats would have to flip, and I just don't see that happening.
So what would your strategy be for the Republicans, though?
I think we have to keep emphasizing keeping the eye on the prize, keeping the eye on the individual. And tune out the noise is what I would tell the voters, what the candidates should tell the voters. Tune out the noise, tune out the media's criticism of Trump's tweets and whatnot. Are you better off this year under President Trump? Do you have more money in your paycheck? Is the economy better? Are your sons and daughters doing better? Do you feel safer? Things like that. Think about yourself and your bottom line, and are you better off this year, this month, than you were 2 years ago? And if the answer is yes, keep voting RNC, keep voting red down that ticket, because that's at the end of the day what really should matter to you, not the media's noise. They're trying to sway you. Think of yourself and whether you're better off under President Trump's agenda and the RNC agenda.
Well, I think you nailed it, because the question to ask is, remember when Reagan asked this question in the 1980 debate with President Carter? I think it was in the final of the 3 debates where he said, ask yourself, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And many people thought that one question turned that into, which was a close race, into a landslide. I think Republicans can ask the same thing. Are you better off today than you were just 24 months ago, 2 years ago? And I think if you ask that question, most people are much better off, and they see that. So you might be onto something. More threats or disclosures or leaks about White House shakeup. General McMaster, National Security Director, apparently on his way out. Secretary Shulkin, Veterans Affairs, the president reportedly leaked, unhappy with him. He's on his way out. There's just 2 right there. Also, General Kelly, nobody really knows if he'll stay or not. What do you make of all these staff shakeups?
Well, it happens. I mean, people change personnel, CEOs, especially people like Trump who come from a CEO background, a background where results are what matters and not a career politician, which, as we know in government, results don't matter at all, and people keep their jobs regardless of whether they're performing well or not. Trump doesn't come from that background. Trump comes from a background of a businessman who wants the results, and if you're not in line with the rest of the team, if you're not producing the results he wants, you're out. So, of course, we're going to see more shakeups, far more than we were in another administration with another president. And that's okay. That's his right, and he has every right to seek the best team possible and put that together, and that's a constantly moving puzzle. And I think we've seen with these shakeups, each time there's a replacement, it steadies the ship a little bit. And it turns out the replacement is often, at least in a couple of these cases, an improvement the public has found over the person they replaced. So we should be encouraging this, and we should want our president to be able to have the freedom to seek out exactly the right personnel. And if it means a little bit of shifting, or even a lot of shifting, that's okay.
You know what, AJ? That's the way I look at it. I think the president came in, he's never done this before. He had to kind of find his footing. He got a lot of advice. He took it. Some of the people maybe the wrong choices. But I think he's kind of getting the job now, and he's kind of understanding the authority he has, and he wants to go with his instincts. And I think now he's got every right to reset and get the people around him that he's not only confident that they can execute his agenda, but they believe in his agenda. The different thing about business and his position is that Donald J. Trump signed the front of your paycheck. So if you're an executive, a junior, senior, and the CEO, Donald Trump, told you what to do or told you what he wanted, you were simply going to get that executed with the best competence you had because you're an employee. At the end of the day, you're paid on a W-4. Government doesn't work that way. Okay, even though many of these people serve at the pleasure of the president, it doesn't work that way. You have to have a similar ideological, philosophical agenda in order to be effective. And I don't think the president really grasped that. I think he thought, well, I'll just get the best people and they'll do what I want them to do. And that's really not the way it works, right? So now I think we have a different situation where the president understands, look, I've got to surround myself with people that believe in the agenda that I have, what my political philosophy is, and how I want to, in what direction I want to move the country. And I think he's better served by having people that agree with him and can help him do that than kind of the way it started out with a lot of disparate figures.
That's a fantastic point. I hadn't even thought of that, and you're absolutely right. And that's exactly actually what President Trump said when he spoke to the media yesterday about the quote-unquote breakup with Rex Tillerson. Obviously, he thinks Rex Tillerson is a brilliant, wonderful man. He said, I'm going to keep talking to Rex Tillerson for years. But we had some differences in our way of thinking. And it's just what you said. He hired him thinking this is the best person for the job. Brilliant guy, has all these accomplishments. But then, a few months in or maybe several months in, it starts to become clear that maybe you have some differences in your way of thinking, which are starting to affect the role. And so that's okay. So then you make that replacement. But it's exactly what you said that I don't think even Trump himself realized. Just because it might be a highly qualified person doesn't mean necessarily it's going to work out. And that's what these changes are for. That's why he's allowed to make these changes.
Well, look, I think you're going to see additional changes coming. But then I think after that, things are going to calm down. And they've also had this problem in the White House with a number of people that were not vetted properly. And there's really, I don't have any comment on that other than it's unfortunate that people are being removed and their security clearance torn away. How that has happened, I have no idea. But when you look at the higher level, AJ, the president now understands that he has to surround himself with people in key positions that agree with and embrace his agenda in order to get things done. We're out of time. AJ Delgado, thanks for being with us, AJ. People want to follow you on Twitter. Where do they go?
AJ Delgado 13, and always an honor and a pleasure to be with you, John, anytime.